What's up, party people? Today I have a guide for you on how to level in Dekaron. This guide will cover level boosting items and gear, main quests, battle support, and relevant dungeons to leveling. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and hit that bell icon if you don't want to miss any of this epic content. Let's get this party started. To start off this guide, we will be talking about XP boosting items. The first XP boosting item that we will be talking about is the experience scroll. These can be stacked with different scrolls, but not with the same type. So that means if you have like a 100%, a 200%, and a 1000%, you can stack them all together, which makes them really great for gaining experience. Another good thing about this buff is that the timer stops when you're offline, so even though it only lasts for 30 minutes, if you do log out or disconnect, your timer will not continue to go down like it does with your other timed items. In order to get these scrolls, you can get them from the D shop and events that are going on. Talismans are another great item that can be used to increase your experience. Only one of them can be equipped at a time, however they do stack with other experience items like the scrolls that we just mentioned. In addition to that, if there is like a server XP event going on, you can have talismans, scrolls, and that bonus all stacked on top of each other, which gives an insane amount of experience. Talismans are generally only obtained from the D shop and events. Runes can be extremely useful when it comes to leveling, however they also can be completely useless if you don't use them properly. Basically how they work is they trigger while killing monsters to release large amounts of experience. What's nice about them is you can stack multiple runes together to get a lot of different XP triggers. However, you can't use any runes that are the exact same type, so they all have to be different. Now, runes are only useful if you yourself are killing monsters. If you're in a dungeon and someone else is killing most of the monsters, the runes are not going to benefit you in any way because they won't trigger. But they are definitely worth using if you're running something like, like IB2, or if you're doing Forgotten Underground Temple, or any dungeon where you personally are killing a lot of monsters. These runes, or any runes, can be obtained from the D shop. They come from events very often, and in addition to that, NPC Jack in our Deca has 2 sets of runes that you can buy for Seed of Dreams. In addition to items, there is XP boosting gear as well. This is basically any equip that adds experience, such as wings, costumes, rings, or necklaces. In addition to that, there are pet gems as well that can go into your socketable pets that will give you experience. Now, it's important to stack as many of these items together when you're leveling, because over time, that higher percent experience you get is going to end up saving you time in the long run when it comes to leveling. So you want to be using all of these XP boosting items and XP boosting gear that you have available to yourself to maximize your experience gain as you go through leveling. Now that we've finished talking about XP boosting items and equipment, let's talk about how you're going to start leveling. Main quests are going to be where you start. When you first start the game, you'll get a main quest, and you want to just keep doing these main quests right away. They're going to give you a lot of experience. Feel free to ignore all the other side quests unless you're kind of interested in the quest line or something, because the main quests will easily carry you up to a high level. Now, main quests are fast experience up to around level 150, but I do want to mention that you can continue to do main quests at any point in the game just because they're always pretty good experience, even when you get to a higher level. Some of the DK maps like Dravisfield and Matera have very high experience main quests. So when you're doing these, you can use holy water to teleport directly to them if you have it. If not, it's nice to get like a mount or something just so you can run around and do these quests, first. But like I said, feel free to do these up until any level. Maybe you'll get bored of these a while and you want to go do some dungeons or something like that, but you can always come back to them because they're always good experience. Another important aspect to leveling is battle support. This is something that was added to Dekaron fairly recently, at least at the time of making this video, maybe a little bit less than a year ago. And basically it allows you to AFK farm, which is really nice because when you're not around, you can still have your character killing stuff and gaining experience. When you have holy water, you have unlimited access to battle support. However, if you don't have that, you only get 60 minutes a day. Basically, if you're trying to seriously level, you should always be running this when you're not playing, and you can really set it up on any map. Now, at this point, you're probably asking yourself, well, that's great, but where should I set up my battle support? Basically, you can set up your battle support anywhere you want. However, it's good to put it somewhere around where your level is. So as you're doing your main quests, you can be like, hey, I'm going to take a little bit of a break here. There's a big group of monsters over there. I'll go over there. I'll turn my battle support on, and when I come back, I'll get some free levels. It's really nice. However, Arcadia is by far the best location when it comes to leveling up, and I'm going to talk about that a little more in just a second here. Okay, here we go. If you are looking for the best way to AFK farm in Dekaron, you have just found it. Arcadia. The experience here is actually ridiculous when it comes to AFK farming, and honestly, early on, this is even faster sometimes than doing dungeons. Basically, in Arcadia, there are two different versions of the map. There's a polluted and purified version of the map. On the polluted version of the map, there's lots of monsters and they spawn really fast. In the purified version, there's less monsters and they don't spawn as quick. However, in order to stay in the polluted area, you have to have Arcadia's protections. Now, currently, with the event going on, you get some free Arcadia's protections, but if you run out of them, the only other place you can get them is the D shop from events, and there is an exchange where you can get like a 5-minute one and stack those up, but it's a huge pain to get. So if you do have them, use them wisely, and you will get levels really quick. Now, if you don't have access to the polluted and you want to use the purified, honestly, up until like level 175, almost 180, the purified is still really good experience if you have a lot of XP boosting items. So yeah, Arcadia, super OP, would recommend, must nerf. So now that I've told you about how to level doing main quests and how to level without actually playing the game by AFKing, let's talk about, ways you can level when you're a little bit more engaged in doing like group activities or solo activities. Now, we're going to talk about relevant dungeons. To start off this topic, let's talk about solo dungeons. Now, these dungeons are usually only done once a day or maybe a couple times a day, and in general have very good experience for their level range. Obviously, as you get a higher level, for example, Norex Secret Arena at level like 180 is no longer going to be giving you very good experience. But when you're around that level, it is really good experience. So I still recommend doing these every day because you get drops from them as well, like Cardia, which are super useful right now. But when you're a higher level, basically the only one, like I'm talking about like 190 plus, the only one that's going to still give you a lot of experience is the Undo Mizuki's Training Ground. But in general, solo dungeons are very good experience. Now that we finished talking about solo dungeons, let's talk about party dungeons. Now, there are a ton of party dungeons in Dekaron, but not all of them are actually good experience. I've put a list here of a couple of the dungeons that actually give you like really good experience. First off is Lost Horizon. Lost Horizon is a party dungeon, and you need 14 people to start it, or 2 full parties. But if enough people are trying to level, you shouldn't have too hard finding that. It gives really good experience up until about level 170. Karen's transport ship is also very good experience. However, it does cost a little bit more than some of the other dungeons to start, so if you don't have a lot of dill, this isn't really worth doing. IB2, for the longest time, used to be the best way to level, actually, until some of these newer dungeons were added. But IB2 is specifically good if you have runes. So just keep that in mind. If you have a lot of runes, doing IB2 is a really good idea. Now, Forgotten Underground Temple is debatably the best way to level in the game, all the way up to 200 plus. And this is because you don't need a ton of people to do it, and it just gives incredibly good experience. Having XP boosting items and having runes only makes it better. Now, the last 2 dungeons I mentioned here are actually relatively hard dungeons, so you need to have a good party to do them. But if you do have a good party, they can actually exceed the experience that you would be getting from the Forgotten Underground Temple. Speaking of group dungeons, I have 2 more to talk to you about really quick. There is this thing in Dekaron called DEADFRONT and Ice Castle. This is a dungeon that happens at specific times. If you want to know those times, you can check out Dekaron's main website. It's listed right on the front page, and they just give really good experience. There's different level ranges for them. The first level range starts at 130, but it goes all the way up to, I believe, 185 plus. So it's great experience, and it's worth doing whenever you can. Luckily, you get some teleport items, and you get little pop-ups on the screen that tell you when this is happening. So anytime you have the opportunity to do DEADFRONT or Ice Castle, I would highly recommend it. Now, the purpose of this guide was just to give you guys an idea of what all is out there when it comes to leveling. I didn't really give you a step-by-step method to level, and that's because there are a lot of different options when it comes to level, and to be honest, you might get bored of one and want to try a different one. So hopefully, as you have looked through this guide, it's giving you kind of an idea of where you want to go or where you want to start. So I did give you an example of a kind of like a step-by-step leveling template here. So basically, what you can do is you want to make sure that you are always doing all your daily solo dungeons, always running battle support when you're not playing, doing DEADFRONT and Ice Castle as much as you possibly can, and always using the best XP boosting items that you have. Now, in terms of like the actual leveling guide, an example, once again, this is not the only way you can do it, it's just an example, would be, to level 1 to 110, do the main quests. Once you're at level 110, you could go do Lost Horizon for a while because you want to do a group dungeon, and maybe you mix that with some main quests, and you could use that to get to level 170, as well as doing, everything from the always do column. And then when you get to 170, you can do some of the main quests in Materia that give a lot of experience, and maybe go do some IB2, as well as doing the other things. And then once you get to level 185, you're just going to grind out that Forgotten Underground Temple and get max level in no time at all. So this is just kind of an example of what you can do as you're leveling, but there isn't like a specific way that you have to do it. Now, I will also mention here, there are some items in the game, they're called experience coins. Now, these usually aren't very easy to get, and they usually come from the D shop or like a platinum box or something like that. But if you do get your hands on these experience coins, you can level through your first levels like really fast, because they give high experience, and you'll get easily into 150 like really fast. But honestly, it's not that hard to get there anyway, so I'd probably just recommend doing it this way, unless you have a surplus of experience coins. There we go, guys. There's my leveling guide for Dekaron. I really hope you found it helpful. I want to give a huge thanks to MoserRS and Mumu from my Discord for helping me make this guide. They gave me some really good information to share with you guys. I also just want to say that I didn't make this guide to give you specific guides for like all these different leveling methods. This is just kind of an overview of the options that you have. For pretty much everything in here, I already have guides on my channel, so feel free to search for those, sorry. And for what I don't have, I'm going to work on, filling out those guides. So, by the time you're watching this, hopefully you'll be able to search my channel for any guide for any of those methods that you want to be trying. If not, feel free to leave a question in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer that. Also, if anyone else has any good leveling tips, feel free to put them down below as well. I don't know everything about the game. This is just the information that I have. Anyway, I sincerely hope that you guys enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or suggestions, as always, you can leave them in the comments. And until next time, guys, take care.